What do you do when life throws you a curveball? When the plan you thought you had completely falls apart? Let's get into it. Hey, family, it's your girl Tay, and this is another episode of the Dream Again podcast. We're so happy that you are here again. It is episode 4. That means we are a month into it and we are staying consistent. We are reaching our goals. We are making things happen. We are just letting God do his big one in our lives. Look, if you have not already, make sure that you subscribe to the show. Go ahead. I'll give you a second and subscribe right now. Hit that little bell notification if you're on YouTube so you don't miss any of the uploads. We want to make sure that you are on this journey with us. And send this to somebody, share it with somebody, your accountability partner, so y'all are on the same page, okay? But I am so grateful that you are here with me again. Today, we are going to be talking about setbacks and how to overcome them, okay? We are not talking failure. We are talking setbacks. It's important that we don't look at these as failures, but that we look at them as learning points, right? That we learn from them, that we move forward, and we don't let the setbacks, or when things don't go according to our plan, we don't let those things stop our momentum. A lot of times we focus on everything that's going wrong, and all that does is that it stops your momentum. It stops your momentum in several different ways, but look, you stop completely, right? You get to thinking in your mind, you know what, maybe this just ain't for me. I've been doing this and it's not going exactly how I planned it to go. And maybe this isn't even for me. Maybe I need to do something else, right? And we get in our head so much. And like I always say, we can be our worst critics, right? And things that aren't going as planned, they might even be a good thing, right? But it's not the way that you planned it to go. So we're going to dive into that a little bit and talk about that, because I had a setback today. I was set to record with someone. We're going to start doing interviews and some great things here on the podcast. And my first interview, we had it scheduled. We had everything set up. Everything was good to go. But then we had some technical issues on our side. And then after having those technical issues, the person that I was supposed to be talking with completely ghosted me this morning. So I hope that they are okay. But I was not planning to be talking by myself again today. But you know what? Maybe, this pivot is exactly what I needed, and to show the resilience that me and the team have with getting this show up and running and staying consistent. And then maybe this message is something that y'all need. Maybe y'all have had a setback. Maybe you've started this Dream Again journey with us and you have a goal and you haven't seen the results yet, and we're a month in, right? But I want to encourage you and encourage myself and the team that even though things don't go according to plan, it's still progress. Setbacks are still progress. They're still progress, right? So you're either learning from it or you're not. And as long as you take the setbacks, as long as you take the things that are going wrong or not going according to plan as lessons, you're still building momentum and moving forward. So you have to stay resilient through every situation and circumstance, right? We cannot predict everything that life is going to throw at us. We cannot predict everything could possibly go wrong, right? But if we use these things and we use them to grow, all it does is cultivate that endurance. It cultivates resilience in us, and it helps us to move forward. So you have to get out of the mindset of this has gone wrong, so that means I'm doing something wrong. Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily. So let's get into it. Why do setbacks happen, right? It's because life is unpredictable, right? Business deals, they fall through, content flops, personal life interferes. All these things can cause hiccups, roadblocks in our lives, roadblocks and what do they say? Chinks in the chain of what it is that we're doing, right? Um, but we have to analyze these things that are happening to us, right? Is it an external factor that I cannot control, or is it an internal factor that I can control, right? Um, is it my own mistake that I made, or is it just life happening, right? If it's your own mistake, don't beat yourself up about it. If it's internal, that's a good thing. That means that you can control it, right? That means that you can analyze what happened, what you did, and figure out, okay, this is how I'm going to move moving forward. This is how I'm going to do it moving forward, right? If it's an external thing, that's when we figure out, okay, it's external. I don't have control over it. I didn't necessarily make a mistake. You can still mitigate those factors. So say, for instance, right? I'll just use me as another example, right? We planned on interviewing today, and an issue that happened is that the person that we were going to interview, they didn't show up for the interview today, right? So I cannot control that person getting in front of their camera, logging in and talking to me. I can't control that. But what I can control is my preparedness when that person doesn't show up. So I prepared another podcast that I could do on my own. So I didn't make a mistake. I sent that person, follow-up emails. I scheduled it. They accepted, the calendar invite, all of that good stuff, right? I did everything on my part to make things easier for them to show up for the call. But I can't physically make them show up and talk to me. But what I did do was that I made sure that I had content already scheduled. I had, a message already scheduled so that I could get on here and I could still talk to y'all, right? So it's mitigating the internal factors versus the external factors. What can you do to be prepared? What can you do to stay resilient? And so I want you to think about those things so you're not beating yourself up. If you made a mistake, don't beat yourself up, but learn from it. If something happened that's out of your control, don't beat yourself up, but learn from it. Learn how you can be prepared and how your processes can be more robust no matter what situations happen, right? So you have to just look at things in that way, right? No matter how much you plan, setbacks are part of the process. So it doesn't matter how much you plan, how prepared you are, how much you've done, things happen. Setbacks happen. Things go differently than what you had planned them to go, right? But you have to embrace those things, embrace the setbacks and say, you know what? This setback ain't nothing but a comeback for me. That's all it is, right? And you have to reframe failure and shift your mindset from failure to a comeback. What if your setback is just a setup for a better comeback? What if your setback is just a better setup for your comeback? Think about that. Reframe your mind and say, you know what? This is just helping me to be better, right? Don't be a victim. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, all of this happened and I can't do what I'm supposed to do. Don't get into that victim mindset. You have to get into a victor mindset. You have to think like you are already victorious because you are, right? And the journey in itself is success because you are continuing to move. You are continuing to do the thing that God has set on your life to do, that God has set on your heart to do, the purpose that is on your life. You pursuing that purpose in itself is success. Your yes to God in itself is success. So you have to shift your thinking and reframe your mindset. Reframe mistakes as lessons, right? What went wrong and what can I learn from it, right? There is a power in a positive perspective. There is power in your perspective. The way that you think in between these two ears of yours, that's where your power resides. Your perspective means everything to this journey. Your perspective means everything to your resilience, right? To your perseverance. All of that is perspective. If you continue to beat yourself up about everything, you're not going to have the willpower to continue. You're not going to have the willpower to keep going and to persevere, right? So change your mind. Change your mind, right? Change your mind and shift from this is happening to me to this is happening for me. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose, right? This is working out for me. Look, and before that it says, and we know that all things are working together for our good. And we know, you have to know that you know that you know that this thing, this mistake, this setback, this issue, this roadblock is working out for me. It's not happening to me. I'm not a victim. This is working out for me. God is working these things out for my good. So whether I'm supposed to learn from it, whether I'm supposed to grow from it, whatever it is, this is working out for me and it's not happening to me, right? Your perspective is everything. Before we get back into the episode, I want to take this time to thank our sponsor, Kairos Media. This episode is brought to you by and produced by Kairos Media. If you're looking to launch a podcast, level up your social media, or build a website that actually works for your brand, Kairos Media has you covered. They specialize in podcast production, social media management, web design, and photography, making sure your content isn't just seen, but that it stands out. I know firsthand how important high quality content is, and Kairos Media helps creators and businesses bring their visions to life. Whether you're starting from scratch or need to revamp your online presence, they'll give you the strategy and tools to grow. So if you're ready to take your brand to the next level, reach out to Kairos Media today at admin@kairosmediasa.com. Kairos Media, your moment is now. So let's talk about some ways to bounce back from the setbacks, right? So the first step is to pause, right? Pause and process what just happened, right? Give yourself permission to feel. Give yourself permission to, digest what it is that just happened. And after that, make sure that you don't stay stuck in your feelings. Get out of your feelings, right? Feel it, but then get out of your feelings. Don't stay stuck in it. Don't stay stuck in the disappointment or the fact that it let you down, or that you may have let yourself down, or that it didn't go the way that you thought it was going to go. It's okay to feel all of those things. I think sometimes we can be toxically positive. Sometimes we can, just move past it so quickly that we don't give ourselves time to actually process what happened. And you might be positive, and that's great to be positive, but make sure that you're not positive by suppressing things, because that just builds up over time, right? And that in itself can cause discouragement, right? When what you're saying um isn't aligning with what you're seeing, that can be discouraging, right? So it's okay to feel those discouragements and to feel those things, to be able to take those things to God and say, you know what, I I let myself down, or I'm disappointed in how this turned out, or this isn't where I saw myself, when I started out this journey. It's okay to take those things to God. It's okay to journal and write those things down. When when things go wrong in my life, or when I have a setback or a roadblock, I write that down. I write down how I'm feeling right now, but that helps me to process and to plan moving forward. And then I love to look back at those journal entries and see where I was at, the frustration that I had, and to see where I'm at now and compare it. And that gives me so much encouragement. When I think of when I started in 2020, I started a podcast, and I journaled through that and all of those things. And when I look back on those episodes, on those old podcast episodes, when I look back on where my mindset was and where I was in life when I started those things, and it makes me feel better now, and it encourages me now to keep pressing and to keep moving and to keep doing the things that I had set out to do, right? And those journal entries, or you processing that information and writing it down, it's encouragement to your future self. Set your future self up for success by learning right now from your experiences. Every experience is setting you up for growth. It's just a matter of how you take those things and how you use it, right? So talk it out with somebody, talk it through with somebody, and not with someone who's gonna be like, yeah, girl, that's hard. I need to stop saying stuff like, yeah, girl, or you do that, sis, because we have a male audience as well. I had to think about that. We got male listeners too. So you know what, bro? Do your thing, okay? Get with the bros and talk, okay? I gotta start talking to y'all too, guys. I'm sorry about that, but I guess it's just from my perspective and my viewpoint. This is how I would talk to my girlfriends and stuff like that. So I'm sorry, gentlemen. I'm gonna bring y'all into the conversation too, but I digress. Um, talk with a friend or a mentor. That's why it's so good to have those accountability partners, right? Because they're not just there to be your drill sergeant. Your accountability partner isn't just there to tell you what to do, right? Or to shame you when you're not doing what it is that you set out to do. No, they're there to be on the journey with you. So talk with them. Hey, bro, man, I thought when I launched this business that I was going to get a whole bunch of clients and customers right off the bat, and it hasn't happened like that. When I started making content, you know what, sis, I thought, I was going to get all the likes and the shares and the reposts, but it's not happening like that, right? And that's what your accountability partner is there for, to be able to walk you through things and to give you a different perspective on your situation, right? So talk it out with somebody. Assess it and adjust. Figure out what the real problem is. Is the real problem me? Is the real problem consistency? Is it poor strategy? Is it the wrong timing? What is the actual root of this problem? So you can adjust. And then I like to use what I call is the SWOT method, SWOT, right? And that is the SWOT method of analysis. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where are the opportunities for improvement? And then where are the threats? What is threatening this goal? So your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and use that to analyze every situation, and it'll help you to make a plan and become more robust moving forward. And then think about what is within my control to change. What is in my control and what is out of my control. Everything that's in my control, I'm going to do better at. How can I get better at those things? And everything that's out of my control, I'm going to give that to God. And I'm not going to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So use that method, analyze it, and it'll help you to pivot. But it's important to stay consistent and to keep moving. You have to keep moving. What's important is that you stay disciplined in the face of discouragement. You have to be disciplined in the face of discouragement. These roadblocks or things going wrong and setbacks and all of those things, they can be discouraging. But will you be disciplined even though you're discouraged? Will you keep moving even though you don't feel motivated all the time? We talked about this last week a little bit, right? Or maybe the week before that, but we've talked about this before, right? You can't just go based off of you feeling motivated to do it. You're not always gonna feel like getting in front of the camera. You're not always gonna feel like writing. If you're doing a book, right? You're not always gonna feel like writing. You're not always gonna feel like going to that meeting or doing that networking event or whatever it may be. You might not feel like going to the gym that day, but in the face of discouragement, will you continue to keep pressing and keep moving forward, right? And it's okay to pivot. It's okay to pivot. Things aren't the way that I planned them to be. This isn't how I thought things would be going when I first started out, but I'm going to pivot and I'm going to do this better. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to, recalibrate what it is that I'm doing. And it's not starting over. You're not starting over, you're recalibrating. You're not starting over, you're recalibrating. Identify the small, actionable steps to regain momentum, right? In your pivot, you might be, changing the name of your business. You might be working to get your LLC. You might be creating podcasts or creating content or whatever it may be, right? Identify the small steps that you can regain momentum when you're bouncing back from these setbacks, right? What are the small things? We talked about building momentum, right? And that's the same thing. You're not starting over, right? You're starting better. You're not starting over, but you're starting better because you have more knowledge, you have more experience, you have more that you're capable of doing. But you have to stay consistent. Your biggest breakthroughs come after your hardest moments. Your biggest breakthroughs are going to come after your hardest moments, but you have to push past them. You have to push past those hard moments. You have to push past those setbacks. You have to push past those failures. You have to push past them to get your breakthrough, but you will break through. You will break through because that's the only option for you. So just to recap everything, I want to thank y'all for joining us for another episode. But just remember that setbacks are inevitable, but they're manageable. Setbacks are inevitable, but they're manageable. And you have to shift from a victim mindset to a victor mindset. Switch from a victor mindset to a victor mindset. And take strategic action instead of quitting. Take strategic action instead of quitting. Your dream, it isn't dead. It's just evolving. It's not dead. It's evolving, and it's okay for it to evolve because we don't have all of the answers, right? It's okay if you started out messy and that you're refining things and you're tweaking things and things are looking different than the way that you set them out to be. That's okay. But your dream isn't dead. It's just evolving. So move and evolve with it. That's okay. So look, y'all, share this episode if this did anything for you, because let me tell you, it did something for me. I needed to hear this. So if this did anything for you, go ahead and drop a comment right now and comment, I'm moving forward, or comment, victim to victor, right? You are victorious, but it's all about your mindset. Share this with somebody. Share it with your accountability partner. Say, hey girl, hey bro, look, this is what I'm on this year. 2025, this is what I'm on. Okay? Make sure that you connect with me on all social media platforms. All of that is in the description. Join the Facebook group. I'm posting in there every single day. If you just need daily motivation, if you want to connect and network with some like-minded people, it doesn't matter what industry that you're in. It doesn't matter if you're a podcaster or not. It doesn't matter if you create content or not. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are a dreamer, if you have some type of goal, all of us should have some type of goal. If you have some type of goal, go ahead and join the Facebook group. The link is in the description, and get daily motivation from me and everybody else in the group. But this has been another episode of the Dream Again podcast. Thank you for rocking with me, and we will see you again next week. Don't forget to shine your light because the world needs it. Bye.